Alright. Question 2 now, man. So nala sizo wabutha ama-marks. Senza sure ukuthi siwathola wonke ephelele. So nala we have 8 marks nje on the line. Akona umbuzo mhlawumbe complicated, which means masiphendule lo so bese sithole okunye 8 sesino 16, yabo. Ake sizame ke manje. So 2 pulses. Amagama esiwa define asiwa underline. So 2 pulses A and B traveling in a medium approach each other. So ama-pulse amabili A no B ayahamba kwi-medium. Approachana, which means eza kanje azohlangana. Approachana. The resulting amplitude when the 2 pulses meet at point Q is positive 2 centimeters. Pulse B has an amplitude of 5 centimeters and is moving eastwards. The pulse length of both pulse A and pulse B is 4 centimeters. Okay, so last pulse medium amplitude eastward pulse length. Okay, so let's mhlawumbe iwona amagama athe no resulting mhlawumbe nawo singachaza approach. Yeah, so 2 pulses ama-pulses amabili. So lento le ake sizame nje ukuyi-expressa visually before siyophendula. So which means khona lo nalo khona lo nalo. So lo uza ngala, lo uza ngala, bazohlangana ngithi lento abayisho. They are approaching each other in a medium. In medium we know what a medium can be: a solid, a liquid, or a gas. Ungakhohlwa lokho. Medium. A medium has the particles, and when a wave comes, it travels now loma particles, and then it displaces them above or below la level. And the distance between rest position to the maximum displacement is your amplitude. So when they say they approach each other, baqonda ukuthi lama pulses omabili enze njani aya approachana. Yabo? Azohlangabezana. When the 2 pulses meet at point Q, which means une point la elu Q la bezohlangana khona. When the 2 pulses meet at point Q, it's 2 centimeters. Which means mehlangana la lo nalo. So this is A. This is A, and this is B. So uma behlangana, the resulting amplitude is 2. Yabo. Mese bathi pulse B has an amplitude of 5 centimeters. B lo 5 centimeters. Yes, so njoba B ingaphansi, jasimbe uzoba negative. And is moving eastwards. Ka east ingakephi? Khumbule ka east ingakephi? Ka east mawukanje. Ka east ingala, and then ka west ingale. So B is moving ka east, which means we are west because they are approaching each other. And then the pulse length of both pulse A and pulse B is 4 centimeters. The pulse length ubude bokusuka from where it started being displaced to where it came back. So ubude nje obusuka nje la kuze la. Yabo? Na sithiwa na i-wave kanje. I-pulse njalo. So i-pulse length, i-distance esuka la ize la. Yona pulse length yakho le, measured in meters. Alright, or centimeters. Kuya ngokuthi bayikale ngani. Alright. So sesiyabona ke manje ukuthi uma behlangana laba bazosinikeza u2. Yabo? Or positive. Which means lo kade mkhulu kunalo. Ngoba lo uzominus angithi kusale answer positive. Ezoba yini? Crest. Okay. So le pulse le abakhuluma ngayo ke le. Yini kanti kahle i-pulse? Iyini i-pulse? Ngithe kweni i-pulse ifana njengokuthi mawuthinta amanzi akade ethule. Kunento eyenzakalayo angithi. Kunama ripples ahambayo kulawo manzi. define. So define a pulse. So a pulse. Njalo mengithiwa define a pulse wena uzothini? Okay, for 2.1. A pulse is a single disturbance in a medium. Okay, and then you're done. 2 marks up to we're about a pulse we define. What you do is when we are shooting a pulse, you disturbance eyodwa medium. You are transferring energy to a certain part of the medium, to the certain particles, and then particles they transfer the energy, and then wave form, because what, there are many pulses that are joined njengestimela. Le stimela fana nje ukuthi eqaleni kwestimela uvela ufake energy, leyo energy izodlula ingene kwenye carriage iziye ngale. It keeps on being transferred from one particle to the next. Yabo? So this is how we define any pulse. It's simple. I'm sure omunye kwazi look pause the video before we even started defining a pulse. A pulse is a single disturbance in a medium. So manje sesophendula question 2.2. Okay, now go 2.2. Kuthiwa la, what type of interference takes place at point Q? Give a reason. 2 marks. Khumbula ke la. Nanti lokunjana la. Interference. We have 2 types of interferences, which is constructive interference and destructive interference. Let's describe the two. Constructive interference, it is when 2 pulses meet, resulting in a larger pulse. For example, mashaphe kukhona lo plus lo. So lo uya kanje nalo uza kanje. Uma bezohlangana labo bazokhipha eyodwa enkulu. Yabo? Or uma lo nalo ama troughs nama troughs bazokwenzani? I-trough eyodwa enkulu. Yabo? Yona in the constructive interference. It is when 2 pulses meet and they form or they result in a larger pulse. Yabo. It is called destructive interference. I guess destructive interference. So the diagram is just to show you a quick reminder what's imaganjan. A constructive interference. 2 marks lo khumbula ungazusebenze kakhulu but ngiyachazela mina. Destructive interference is whereby kuzohlangana i-crest ne-trough, and then they lead to mhlambe bese le crest inkulu nalo, so kuzophuma yini mhlambe encane kanje. Yabo? And then we could have any mhlambe kuzoqala i-trough ne-crest, yabo, bese kuphuma mhlambe into encane kanje. Yabo? So this is when 2 pulses meet and they result in a larger wave, in a larger pulse. So it is what we call in destructive interference. So not that usuyazi ukuthi i-destructive interference yini, i-constructive interference yini. Kuleyo khulunywa ngawo la, yona kuphi ke okufala under interference ethize, is it constructive or destructive? Asibhekeni lama pulses awu-2. What we know, pulse A asimazi uthunjani, but we know that pulse B has an amplitude of +5. Yabo? Pulse B has an amplitude of +5. +5. Okusho ukuthi le. Oh, pulse B une amplitude ka +5 angithi. Kodwa uma behlangana bathola u2. U5 akwazi phela ukwehla bo2, which means bahlanganile and they resulted in a smaller. Uyayizwa le? U5 kufana njengokuthi u5 plus ux lo singamazi is equals to u2. Yabo, uyazi lapho uthi 5 uzoya ngale ko x is equal to 2 minus 5. So x is equal to minus 3. Yona ini amplitude yani? Yeah, A there, you negative 3. Why? It is a trough. Okusho ukuthi, let's just try and draw it here manje. Lento la ikanje shothi. We have la A and we have bandana. Oh. Ngizokhunjela ispace la ngifuna uyibone kahle lento le. So we have A la and we have B. So what we know ukuthi lana, this is A and this is B. Of course, hello. So ama amplitudes ke uba amplitude for B, they told us it is positive 5 centimeters. To be positive, it is above the rest position. Le is obviously negative 3 centimeters. Ukuze phume ini loya positive 2 centimeters. Also by resulting. This is the principle of superposition. When two pulses meet and they occupy the same space at the same time, the resulting amplitude is the algebraic sum of the two. You know in there the principle of superposition of pulses, but there is destructive interference. Why? It is because the resulting amplitude is smaller than the amplitude of pulse B. You know answer yakho ke for 2 marks. So wonke lama diagrams angilebele ngikujebela wona are just the means or ama illustrations ukuthi wena understand better lento engisuke ngisho. So let's put the answer ke manje. Let's ofaka yona ke answer manje. So now we know what it looks like. Sesiyazi ukuthi okay, so 2.2 answer destructive interference. Why? Erasing the resulting pulse is smaller than the pulse B. Good. Yeah. But okay, it's easy to understand it in mind. Ngoba manje sesikwazile ukuyidweba sakwazi ukuchaza based on lokubhaliwe. So now you get your full 2 marks again. 2.2. No. If you still have any problems, you know what to do. Send a message. We will try and assist. Heat destructive interference when two pulses meet and results in a smaller pulse. So if A2 and AOD positive ahlangana and the answer yakhona yabancane, shuthi le ngibe negative phela. Akwazi ukuthi kwehle ube kuhlanganiswa. Angithi ngoba bekuhlanganisa izinto ezinegative vele. Uyabo? So this is how we answer question 2.2. Let's go to question 2.3. Alright, so 2.3 now, mind another 2 marks. Determine the amplitude of pulse A. Remember, amplitude. Yini amplitude? Yilobude lobo busukaphi kwi-rest position la ama-particles akade ekhona. Uzuye phezulu la ezogcina khona ukudisplayseka. Njengoba idlula i-energy phela ngithi iyenza ukuthi benze njani lama particles aye up and down ayagquma. As enza lokho kwenzakalani? They are displaced. There is a change in their position. La khona ayashifta aye phezulu amanye ayashifta aye phansi. And that distance is the amplitude. Yabo? The maximum displacement kahle kahle. Sithola kanjani? Siyazi nje sina sesiyazi. Bese ngiye ngayenza vele lento ukuthi i-destructive interference le angithi what we know is i-amplitude ngibhale with a different color. So i-amplitude ka A plus i-amplitude ka B isinikeza ba positive 2 batheni the two pulses meet at or the resulting amplitude when the two pulses meet at point Q is 2 centimeters. So uma behlangana sithola positive 2 centimeters. But B siyamazi nje Yabo noma sibhale kanje ukuze lento uzoyibona kahle because u-A omunye umuntu uyilethe u-A kanti ngiqonda amplitude mina. So positive 2 centimeter. So pulse A. So pulse A and pulse B. So the amplitude of pulse A plus the amplitude of pulse B gave us positive 2 centimeters. But the amplitude of pulse A, B phela siyamazi angithi must change to positive 5. So positive 5 centimeters is equal to positive 2 centimeters. So now we need to solve for pulse A angithi. So the amplitude of pulse A is equal to positive 2 centimeters lo ayengale minus 5 centimeters. Pulse band A. So the amplitude of pulse A is equal to positive 2 minus 5 is negative 3 centimeters. Iyona ke ini lena i-amplitude ka pulse A. So this is your final answer. And then, as you know, it is worth 2 marks again. Yabo? Siphendule imibuzo ewu-3 la, worth 2 marks out of 8. Sesisalele nombuzo owodwa of 2 marks now. Senze njani lapha? Sesino 16 marks after that kulo 50. So, as you can see la, bese sazi ukuthi i-destructive interference because basitshelile ngesekuqaleni. I-destructive interference, it is when 2 pulses meet resulting in a smaller. So u5 kuze ehle abe u2, it is because basusa u3 here. That is how we got our answer. Yabo? Sounds open to question 2.4. Okay, now umbuzo wokugcina la ku question 2.4 now worth 2 marks, which means kulo question 2 bese my questions are 4 worth 2 marks each. Basibuza la ukuthi will the pulse length of the resulting pulse, which means lega 2 centimeters at point Q, because ilaba ehlangana khona, izoba equals to or less than or greater than 4 centimeters. Basitshelile phela ukuthi the pulse length of both pulse A and B is 4 centimeters. Yabo? Yini pulse length asikhumbuse lokho sikudwebele nje i-pulse encane la ezokudemonstrate. So sithi na i-pulse la. So which means the pulse le iqala la kuya phezulu ibuye isingala. Yabo? The distance between those 2 points le is the pulse length. Yabo? I-pulse length ke le. So yona le abathe yobani you 4 centimeters for pulse A and 4 centimeters for pulse B. So when 2 pulses meet, the amplitudes of the pulses are affected because kwenzeka ini i-constructive interference or kwenzeka ini i-destructive interference. But what happens to the pulse length? What happens to the distance between the 2 points where the particles are displaced? Kwenzakalani lapho? Nothing. Ayikho into eyenzakalayo. Which means the pulse length will always be the same after constructive interference or destructive interference. Therefore, for the 2 marks, it is fairly simple. Will the pulse length of the resulting pulse at point Q be equal to, less than, or greater than? So your final answer wena toqala nje uthi equals to. Yaba? Uchoose le. Ile uchoose equals to. Yaba? Why is it equals to? Why? Ngoba ayithinteki i-pulse length phela. Okuthinteka i-amplitude angithi. Which njengoba uzothiwa when 2 pulses meet, the resulting or when 2 pulses meet and they result in a larger pulse, iba larger ngani by the increase of the amplitude. Iba smaller kanjani. There's a decrease in the amplitude. So equals to y. We should see only the amplitude is affected. The amplitude dependent nje affected. Kodwa omunye mhlawumbe angasho ukuthi the pulse length is not affected when two pulses meet. So kuwena uthibhala kanjani, but moral of the story kuyalingana, equals it doesn't change, it stays the same. So this is how you answer ini lo mbuzo lo, and you get your full 2 marks. Yabo? So we've answered question 1 MCQ, multiple choice questions worth 8 marks. We've answered question 2 speaking about some pulses worth 8 marks. So we now have 16 marks, 18 or 8. So now we will be going to question 3.